Welcome to Film School Friday. I'm Corey,
I'm Bill.
and together,
We host the In Focus podcast, Film School Friday bonus episodes. How do you like I put a little spin on it there?
ooh, bonus episodes.
They are they not?
They are. Technically,
Yeah.
they definitely are.
Easter eggs.
Film School Friday is our special weekly episode where we try to pass along all of our knowledge, wisdom, and experience to you. Whether or not you use it, that's totally up to you.
For what it's worth. Yeah.
For what it's worth. In this week's episode, Bill, I would love to talk about distribution and what it is, what it means. Like, do I need it? How do I get it? I don't know.
Yeah. So what's funny is this is our first Film School Friday where you didn't have the intro of where Bill talks about the knowledge he retained from film school. Funnily enough, because they didn't really teach us a lot about distribution specifically in film school.
What a bummer.
Yeah, it is a bummer. So, because that's like a really big, important thing that's missed. And I get that. You know, you want to focus on the craft itself, which is a whole nother can of worms that has enormous content to teach on. But distribution, the business side of things, this is when it gets a little scary for a lot of filmmakers and just creatives in general. Distribution. We've alluded to it a few times on the show. It's what's basically, the quote golden ticket, the thing that people are after when it comes to film. It's the deal that you make to actually get your work out to the world, get it on Netflix, get it in movie theaters, prior to it being dominated by Marvel. Like get it on TV, get it wherever it might be when it's picked up by a large company that has the ability to push it out to the masses and actually make you some money. That's distribution. A lot of people liken it to a record deal in the music industry, except without a lot of the trappings of a record deal, even though there are plenty of trappings on its own.
Because I feel like with a record deal, at least, like that, there's usually like some development deal and some investment and that record label is paying for some ongoing work and probably multiple pieces versus what I know of distribution, potentially, especially like as an indie filmmaker or if you're self-financing, you have funded the project from start to finish, and now you're looking to recoup some of that through that sale.
That's correct. So distribution is basically your gateway to get your film out to the world and make some money off of it. You hope, and this is what we're going to get into with distribution. It's a difficult journey, distribution, and it can be very intimidating, very frightening. If you're a creative working in film, a lot of us are not the most business-minded people. That's just how it is. Every now and then you'll have a filmmaker who's incredibly savvy in business, and those are the folks you want to cozy up to, quite honestly. But like that side of things can be really scary. Distribution, it's definitely when you get an offer, it's really exciting, especially if it's your first distribution offer you've ever gotten.
Yep.
Because it's like, oh my gosh, XYZ company has taken notice of my film and they want to get it out there. That's amazing. I've done something that's impactful enough or high quality enough to be sold, to be viable in the market. Wow, that's amazing.
It's like a really good validation of your commitment to that project too.
Yeah, and that's and I would say, that's a side of success, but with that comes this business side that not everybody's prepared for.
Right.
And when you're young and when you're an up-and-coming filmmaker and you get a deal like that, it's easy to jump right in and be like, yes, please, sign me up. And a lot of distributors out there, that their job is to get you to sign with their company. And so they'll talk you up. They'll talk your film up. They'll say, this film, I think this film has a lot of potential. It could change the world. They'll get real over the top about it and make you feel really good.
Yeah.
But that's their job. They're trying to get you to sign. And you got to be careful about that. And fortunately for me in my distribution experience, I had heard a decade or more's worth of horror stories before I even got my first distribution offer. So I was ready. So when I started having the meetings with folks, these are people like in New York and LA and elsewhere. You know, they talk you up. They're very kind. They say your film can change the world. It really moved me, et cetera, et cetera. You usually have a really great, really positive conversation with the distributor. And it's, you know, I don't want to say it's coercion, but it's their way of saying, you know, sign with us.
Right.
We want your business. And so then they give you a contract. And this is where it gets, you know, dicey. You want to look over that contract, every bit of it. Find a lawyer. They don't even have to be an entertainment lawyer. That's preferable. But, you know, I got my cousin who's a lawyer that does like property stuff to look at it, but he's got he can see he knows contracts. So
right, as a lawyer, like it's very specific, but there's also enough generality that any good lawyer could look at that and say, it's probably not in your best interest.
Right. Do not get too excited about your distribution offer. Please, please, please don't get too excited. Look it over. Tell the distributor. They'll wait for you. They will. They will wait for you because they want your signature. Tell them, say, look, I need to set aside some time. I need to talk to my lawyer. They don't mind you saying that. That shows that you're savvy, that you understand.
Taking it serious.
Yeah, you're taking it seriously. Take some time out. Go through that thing thoroughly. Because let me tell you, there's a lot of things hidden in distribution contracts that can lock your film up indefinitely. Or in some cases, just cheat you out of your money, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah.
Like, just, you know, there's some bad deals out there. And a producer who's passed away in the last few years, Tim Vanesteeg, rest in peace, he had a lot of experience with distribution, and he helped me a lot when Hear Me Now had a bunch of offers. And he had, you know, some great advice about not getting screwed over. That was very blunt and very to the point. But he took the time to not only, you know, was my cousin looking at these contracts, but so was he.
Yeah.
I'd send them to him, and I'd be like, what does this look like to you? And he was very blunt with me. He was like, look, this one's going to screw you really hard.
Yeah.
This is not good. This is not a good contract. And it's a bummer, you know, when you're a first-timer and you've got an offer for the first time. It kind of sucks to hear that maybe the contract that's being offered to you is not a good one.
Yeah.
Because then that means you have to pass and go back to the drawing board. And am I going to get another distribution offer? But, you know, better to pass on something that's bad than, you know, have your film indefinitely locked away in a vault to never make money or see the light of day. Because a lot of times, you know, us coming from the indie world, we're used to self-distributing, right? We're used to self-marketing. When you sign certain contracts, sometimes that's out of the question.
Yeah.
Once you sign it, your baby is not your baby anymore. It's this company's baby.
Yeah.
And you can get into legal trouble for showing off your own film. So
that's crazy.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
But
for
I
people.
understand.
Yeah. So that's another thing you got to look out for with these contracts. There are people. We had a contract that came our way for Hear Me Now that in the very fine print that we didn't see, but our lawyer saw, was that if we had signed the film over to them, they would have to release it within a 10-year period, which means they could hold it for 9 years. Wow. I mean, you know, like, especially if it's something that's very topical and very of the time.
Right.
Your film's going to be outdated by the time they put it out. And you've moved on, you know, 10 years is a long time. And so that's why we passed on that one. Because why would we do that?
Good choice.
Yeah, great choice. And, you know, we had another contract where it was like, sign your film over and we'll put it on our website, but that's all we can promise for you. Like, really, really, like, kind of a lowball, strange offer.
Might as well just put it on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. So there's just a lot of stuff out there, and you got to be careful. But you do, like, it's not all bad. I'm talking a lot of doom and gloom about distribution, and I think it's important for people to realize that it's hairy. But we very fortunately for Hear Me Now got a very good distributor, and I'll give them a shout out. Green Planet Films, Suzanne Harley, just amazing person to work with. We got a really great deal with them. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but, you know, everything was solid. Zach Adams, who was producer on the film, had worked with them before. So there was some prior experience on our team with this distributor. And they've been great to work with, easygoing, put the film out as soon as they could. You know, that was part of the contract.
Yep.
You have to look for those things. You have to talk to these people. And as a creative, you know, it may be uncomfortable to do business, but you know, you got to put a poker face on. You have to do business if distribution is something you're looking for. You know, fake your way through it if you have to. But some of these distributors can be like sharks in the water. And if you show yourself to be competent and know what you're talking about and know what you're after, you know, you can do okay. But you're not going to hold on to 100% of your film when you do distribution. That's another thing that you got to understand.
Is self-distribution still a possibility these days?
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Especially since the market is so saturated with creators. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Like everybody can create now. There's so much gear that's accessible to everybody. There's so much content out there just on YouTube alone. You are in a enormous ocean with a lot of content.
Yeah.
So
finding a good distributor is, I mean, basically they're using their network, their contacts.
Yeah.
As long as they believe your film or your project has some relevance to the world, and they think they can make a buck off of it, then they're going to do everything they can to get it into that distribution agreement with all of their contacts, right?
That's right. And that's these are the people that can get you on Amazon Prime and on Netflix and on Hulu. And, you know, for Hear Me Now, it's like Canopy and libraries and schools around the country and those types of things. So the regular indie filmmaker can't do that. That's too much. That's a big lift. You don't have those kind of contacts. Those are business people working with business people.
Right.
So you need to, it's shaking a hand with a business person to get that network and get your film out.
So there's not just like an upload button on Hulu?
No.
Man, but what if there was?
It would be like YouTube, incredibly saturated, and nobody would ever, you know, stuff that breaks through would be hard to break through.
Yeah. It would still be cool for some of us if there was an upload button.
It would be cool at first.
Yeah, and then you're right. It would,
and then it would get saturated.
It would be YouTube real fast.
Yeah. So distribution, is it good? Yes, it's amazing. It's a privilege. It's an honor. But you must exercise caution. Please, please, please exercise caution.
Yeah. Really good advice there.
Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Really good insight around distribution this week.
Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
Hope it's helpful.
I hope it was too.
Seek it out, folks.
Yeah, you can do it.
You can do it.
Awesome. All right. Well, check us out on Instagram at InFocusPod or online at InFocusPodcast.com. And if you like what you heard today, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating. It would help us out a ton. And until next time,
feed your crew.
Feed 'em.
Feed 'em.
We should do Feed Your Crew merch.
We should. Let's do it. Put a pineapple pizza on the show.
No, get out of here. I'm turning your mic off.